to make America utopia, take away the economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics and Rights. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the entire United States. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of something called Internet, formerly known as ARPANET, created by we the people. You know, that's what we're all about here. We the people. We the people. Always remember that. We the people. You know, this weekend, I had a great function out there in Montgomery, Texas. Uh, we went there in it's sort of like a community gathering, sort of a rally for a young woman that is running for District 8 in Texas. Her name is Laura Jones. It was listening to her was quite impressive. She is running she's a Democratic candidate. And by the way, as usual, I want to interview everybody, both the Democratic candidate, the Republican candidate, so that Americans can see, whoever they are, exactly what these politicians have planned for her. But I can tell you, the woman running for that position is impressive. If you get to see her work ethic, one would be surprised. So, guess who else was out there with us? Neil Aquino and I both gave some little speeches of encouragement, suggestions that we had for people running on the progressive side, etc. It was a real great event. But anyhow, without further ado, let's get to the studio where I think we are loaded with El Senor Howard Reynolds and Jack Ben Bever, as I don't think we have our beautiful Mayana with her wonderful voice out today. Anyway, how you doing this morning, guys?
Well, we're okay. It is Monday morning at the radio, the 8th of December, 2025. We're still here and have some pretty exciting news. We have our HD channels back.
Oh, right.
All
Yes,
right, you've been
after
working
two
on that.
after two 12-hour days at the transmitter, we now have them back, and you're able to hear HD2 and that good old country station HD3.
All
I've been
right,
listening to it all weekend.
oh man, you were really out there at that antenna doing some magic, man. It's been down for a while. It's great that we have all the side bands and everything going now.
Mm-hmm. About 2 months it was gone. 3 months
Out,
maybe. I don't
ouch.
remember when it disappeared, but I've been trying to wrangle with it and get it to work, and it just didn't happen. So, but now it's back up and running, and thank you all the folks who contributed the time and wiped my tears away.
And the effort to
Yes.
get all those spare parts, right?
Well, yes, we had a conversation with a transmitter manufacturer, and they sent us the parts for it. It took a while to figure it out because there was a lot wrong. There's a lot of
Right.
things that just weren't happening. So it's now up and running. I've been listening to HD2 actually, and there's some pretty interesting shows on there. There's a new one called and I can't in
Yes.
Progress, Texas. That was on 11 o'clock yesterday morning, and I listened to it and I thought, you know, Egberto, you might have a rival here.
Well, it's
Because
interesting because I know them and I'm going to be interviewing them because it's a progressive group and they're doing that podcast once a week. And that is what we need. We need more than one voice. We need a lot of voices out there.
yes, we do. All right, Jack, what you got, man?
I'm going to read Egberto's program topics for today. Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Good morning, Jack. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. All
Talk to
right,
me.
the show confronts a central truth about American politics. The struggle over economic reality is as fierce as the struggle over democracy itself. The conversation begins by unpacking Steve Rattner's data driven dismantling of Donald Trump's false narratives about inflation, tariffs, and drug prices. Misinformation that harms working families while enriching the well connected. From, from, from there, it explores a bold 10-point pledge that Democrats can use to prove they are the only party prepared to make life affordable for the average American. And finally, it traces how the GOP's decades long commitment to profit over patience, beginning with Nixon's backroom HMO deal, created the patchwork healthcare crisis squeezing Americans today. Together, these threads reveal how policy choices, not destiny, shape the economic pain or prosperity felt by every household today. I heard that interview, that missing tape of Nixon
Yes.
interviewing the executive from Kaiser Health Group, and he was explaining that it was more test intensive. They would use tests to to bill the patient for, and you run through a barrage of tests to rule out other diseases. And he says, well, it delivers very little care, but it's very profitable. And Nixon goes, "Oh, I like that."
Yes. I'm going
Well,
to play that today. I,
Oh,
I, I,
good.
I am going. Well, I actually have the transcript, and I have the transcript narrated. When you listen to that transcript, it is sad that you hear a politician just being so cavalier with one's health. Oh, I like that. You mean it's something they're going to make money from? I like that. That's going to be the second tape I play, but say second video. I'm aging myself. Anyway, anything else you want to add, Jack or Howard?
no.
No, let's get on with the show.
Now, we understand that our echo has gone from the phone, but we haven't tested it out yet. So this is going to be the test case.
Wait,
We
did you
did
do
some,
something else over the weekend?
well, we did some configuration on Saturday morning, and apparently there was one plug plugged into the wrong thing. So we're going to
Oh,
find out this morning if the echo is gone. Now, we're going to
okay.
like it if it's gone, and we're not going to like it if the phone doesn't work. So
Uh-oh.
get, yeah, phone in early, phone in often.
Well,
And Johnny,
I
we're waiting for you.
we're waiting for Janet. Let me play this Steve Rattner tape. First of all, let me just preempt this and say this. Um, we're about truth. We're about making sure people have the right information and not letting there's a lot of times that Donald Trump should be stopped in his tracks when he tells a lie, especially one that has material effect on people. And unfortunately, the mainstream reporters don't do that in real time. A lot of times they're correcting it after the fact, but after the fact, so many people have already heard that. Looks like we already have one call. What I'm going to do is wait before I start this video, let just to see if our call comes in, and then take it from there. So I'm going to wait for Jack to put some name in on the video. Oh, look at this, another one come. Are you guys going to hijack my show before I even play my first video? Is that what I'm
Probably.
starting to smell? But
Yeah, you're probably starting to get the idea that these guys are going to hijack your show. So,
well,
but we
look,
want to make sure that the phones are working.
you look here. I am used to it, man. I'm used to it. But you know what? That's what KPFT is all about. That's what we're all about here. Um, but while we wait for Jack to cue those calls, what was the Progressive Forums, not forum, I forgot the name of it, Progress Texas topic on this weekend? Uh, did you get me, Howard? Howard?
Oh, I
Okay, I
hear you.
guess.
Yes, I was distracted. I was telling Jack that he needs to label the calls so we can get them on and
Yeah,
find out if
okay.
they're working.
All right,
So
let's
this
talk.
is called live experimentation on the radio.
There we go. There we go. All right, Ben, come on in. Let's see if it works. Can you hear me, Ben?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me, Ben?
It didn't work.
Oh, okay. so you can still hear yourself. Okay, Ben may not be hearing me right at this point in time. Okay, let's get that taken care of, and I'll play the video, and then we'll come back to the phones. All right? All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the video, and we'll handle the phones in a little bit and see what we come up with. Here is a video, my brothers and sisters. Here we go.
Here's what he said during Tuesday's cabinet meeting.
I inherited the worst inflation in history. There was no affordability. Nobody could afford anything. Since last January, we've stopped inflation in its tracks.
He just plucked things out of the air that had no basis in reality. So let's start with inflation. It did hit 9% during COVID, and it was pretty destabilizing for a lot of people, appropriately. But it's nothing like what we went through back in the 70s after the first oil embargo, which pushed inflation up to close to 12%, and then the second one, which pushed it up to 14%. These are obviously much, much larger numbers. We even had higher inflation coming out of World War II. And so the idea that inflation is the worst in history is absurd.
And we're going to be giving back refunds out of the tariffs because we've taken in literally trillions of dollars. And we're going to be giving a nice dividend to the people. In addition to reducing debt, you won't even have income tax to pay, because the money we're taking in is so great. The word affordability is a con job by the Democrats.
Let's just put before we get to tariffs, let's just put a quick pin in inflation, because Trump also said something pretty amazing. He said we stopped inflation in its tracks. Well, that's not really true. He inherited inflation at 3%, as I said. It had come way, way down. It did go down a bit more in the early Trump years, but then it went right back up to 3%. So inflation, in fact, has not decreased at all under Trump, and it's certainly not stopped in its tracks. Now we have tariffs. So let's talk about that. Trump said this. He said, we're going to give back these refunds. We're going to give people a nice dividend. You won't even have income tax to pay because the money we're taking in is so great. What are the facts? The facts are that they collected $80 billion of tariff revenue in the previous fiscal year. This would be before Trump, very early into Trump. And then in the current year, which started in January, $259 billion of tariff revenue. But look at what the size of income tax revenues are: $2.5 trillion of income tax revenue. There's no way you can replace that with that. So that's ridiculous. Then he said we're going to reduce the debt. Well, we're running a deficit of $1.8 trillion with a T dollars every year. You're not going to reduce the debt if you're adding to the debt a couple $1 trillion a year. Let's take a look at the next chart. Affordability. So you heard him say that it's a con job by the Democrats. That is certainly contrary to what everybody thinks, including most Republicans. But again, let's look at what happened and what is happening now. So yes, we had COVID. Inflation peaked at 9%, as I said. These are the three income groups, top income group, second and third. All of them lost a lot of ground. Their wages did not keep up with inflation, so their standard of living went down. Then inflation drops to 3%, and still you see 2 out of the 3 income groups losing ground, the middle and the upper income groups, maybe not the upper one that we care the most about, but they were losing ground too. And lower incomes, basically staying flat. They never recovered all of what they lost back here. Then Trump comes in, and here's the amazing thing, and it's only the first year of his term, but in fact, higher incomes are now doing better, opposite of what we saw earlier. Lower incomes are still losing ground. So the idea that when you see people lose this much purchasing power over this long a period of time, that we don't have an affordability crisis is completely fictitious.
Obamacare was made to make the insurance companies rich. Their stocks have gone up 1,000% in a short period of time. We have reduced drug prices by 500, 600, 700, 800, 900%, depending on the drug.
This is going to come as news to the drug companies because they don't think their stocks have gone up 1,000%, nor does anybody else for that matter. And he said a short period of time. I don't know what he means by a short period of time, but if you look at the last 5 years, for example, United Healthcare and Elevance are the 2 largest participants in the Obamacare insurance markets, and they do a lot of other things, and so it's not completely a pure analysis, but it's definitely directionally right. So their stock prices and the graphed against the S&P, which is in black here, you can see what happened. They did do well for a while, but now their stocks have gone all the way down here. Their stocks are about 25% above where they were 5 years ago. The S&P is up 100%, a little bit over 100% from where it was 5 years ago. So the stocks have barely done anything compared to the broader market. So that's not true. But now let's look at his math skills. Most of us took 6th grade and 7th grade math. He says we're going to reduce drug prices by these huge numbers of percents. Let's just do basic math here. If you have a $60 drug and you get a 50% price cut in that drug, it costs, and I won't ask Lemire, but I'm sure he knows, $30. If you get a $60, if you have a $60 drug and they cut the price by 100%, it's free, right? 100% reduction in price goes to free. If you have a $60 drug again, and it goes down by 200%, what happens? They give you the drug for free. They pay you $60 to take the drug. So obviously, the idea that drug prices can go down by these amounts is ridiculous. The price of something simply cannot go down by more than 100%. This is 6th grade math.
Yeah.
This is 6th grade math.
Here's what he said during.
Now, folks, I mean, this is pathetic, right? That we allow a Donald Trump to go ahead and be president. One person that doesn't even understand math. Once he said drug prices were down over 100%, 900%. What is he talking about? That is mathematically impossible. That is saying drug companies are going to pay you to take their drugs. Impossible. Anyway, I tell you what, before I continue with this, let's go and check the phone again. Tag, how are you doing, my brother? Come on in.
I'm doing good, Egberto. How about you?
All right. Can you hear me fine?
Okay, I can't hear you now. So let me say this much. This example of affordability that Trump has done is the greatest example of doublespeak we've ever seen.
Right.
He said that he is going to be the affordability president, and then just recently comes back and says affordability is a Democratic scam. So it just goes to show you how this guy flip flops. And there's no consolation prize here. Trump's an idiot. So
yeah.
With that, I'm going to go, Jack. Let me go.
All right. Thank you very much, Tag. I think you said that you couldn't hear me, but we could sure hear you. We still have some work to do. Little complication there, folks. Anyway, I want to welcome. I started the visual of the chat late, so I missed a whole lot of folks. But LBW, La Profesora says, if Biden had made such statements, what would it be like? You'd think the right wing would have a cow. You know, maybe some on the left need to do some of that. Let it point out how uneducated our president is, maybe. All right, welcome aboard as well. It's happened. It's never happening. Lynette, how you doing, Lynette? Welcome aboard. Asterion, Bobby K, and many others. Thank you for being here. Asterion said, I saw this the other day. Revealing truth to the cosmos has no effect on 33% of the folks. But you know what that means, Asterion? That actually means that 67% of people are are functionally, mentally, and we can win super majorities with that kind of number. We just have to inform folks and stay in the game. Harry Denson is in the house from Missouri City, Texas. So is Billy Allison Irwin from Summerwood. Thank you, Billy. I haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Maybe I just missed you. And Lee the Bearcat is in from Austin, Texas. Again, if you want your name called out, just go ahead and put your city and state. Be more than happy to do so. All right, before I get into the meat of the program as well, I want to play another video. This is one that Jack spoke about early on. And let me preface it by pointing out that if you take a look at our healthcare system, one would think that it just kind of went bad on its own, not realizing that the plan hurt on you was actually instigated. The planned disaster that healthcare was designed to have others profit. I mean, they speak about it. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on el otro lado. Let's. That Republicans really don't care that the big, bad, beautiful bill left out of it the extension of the subsidies to ensure that Americans can have health care. They never cared about that. They don't care if these people have insurance or not, whether they get health care or not, because singularly, this party is about maximizing profits for its friends at all costs. That's a neoliberal methodology. That is a Republican orthodoxy. I want you to listen to this. This came out of Michael Moore's Sicko. And it's interesting because you'll see the conversation that Richard Nixon had one day about denying health care, making it giving less health care. And the other day, by supporting the policy, he lies about it and says, oh, we are going to provide the best health care possible. I need you guys to listen to this in detail. The quality is not all that good, but listen in detail. What we see here in healthcare, in the Republicans not having a concept of a plan, not having any plan, is all the idea. Is you keep holding out. Well, I'll tell you what, listen to the clip and then we'll take it on the other side.
Excerpted from Michael Moore's documentary Sicko, White House counsel John Ehrlichman, we have narrowed down the vice president's progress on this one issue, and that is whether we should include these health maintenance organizations like Edgar Kaiser's Permanente thing. President Richard Nixon. Now let me ask you, I'm not too keen on any of these damn medical programs. Ehrlichman. This is a private enterprise one. Nixon. Well, that appeals to me. Ehrlichman. Edgar Kaiser is running his permanent deal for profit, and the reason he can do it, I had Edgar Kaiser come in and talk to me about this, and I went into it in some depth. All the incentives are toward less medical care, because the less care they give them, the more money they make. Nixon, fine Ehrlichman, and the incentives run the right way. Nixon, not bad narrator. The next day at a Nixon presser, February 18th, 1971. Nixon, I am proposing today a new national health strategy. The purpose of this program is simply this. I want America to have the finest health care in the world, and I want every American to be able to have that care when he needs it. Michael Moore, the plan hatched between Nixon and Edgar Kaiser worked. In the ensuing years, patients were given less and less care. News report, bigger logjams at the nearby public hospital, and less quality medical care. A man waiting 18 hours in ER.
So here's what we're talking about. What the Republicans are doing today. No, they're fighting among each other of whether we give you a savings account, all this kind of stuff. The basic thing is not investing anything to make healthcare good for Americans. And that if they're going to make healthcare somehow a little bit good for people, that somebody on the other end, on the capitalist end, must make a ton of money. Nixon said it, and the Republican orthodoxy is to continue to execute it. Even what Obama passed, which was an enhanced version of Romney Care from Massachusetts, the only way we could get that bill through was not what Obama absolutely wanted, was not what progressives wanted, but what the neoliberal wing of the Democratic Party held us hostage for. And that is to keep the private health insurance companies where they could continue to raise prices, even as we clamp down on what percentage of said prices could be profits, could be overhead. Look, if you want change, first of all, you have to learn the realities of who will give you change. And as you'll see in a subsequent video, even Gavin Newsom realizes that the people with policies that will help people are Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Serhan Mandami, the ones that people tend to try to put the boogie person on. I want you to understand this. This is not an accident what we're going through right now. This is modus operandi. This is Powell memo. This is all these things that says, let's go ahead and indoctrinate you, fool you into voting against your own interests. And damn it if they're not doing a good job of it. And damn it if too many of us are not biting. Folks, you have to look out for what's best for us. And we know it's not in the neoliberal realm. It's not in the Republican realm. It's in the progressive wing of the Democratic Party where things will occur on a positive side. Absolutely so. Absolutely so. Let's see. Neodivergent hodgepodge. I love that name. Is that transcript reader AI? Yes, I needed that. I needed to get that transcript right. I wanted to put a little bit of a thing in it. Yeah. So that's what it was. I tell you everything as it is. I make sure and tell you everything as it is. Absolutely, folks. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to put a little bit of not just have my voice, my voice, my voice, my voice, my voice. So yeah. Anyway, look, that piece there is so important to understand where we are today. It is so important to understand where we are today because people think this just happened, that our healthcare is lousy. It just happened. Our healthcare is lousy not because it just happened. It's because you were never, all of you that are out there, the purpose of our healthcare delivery system was never to give you good or great healthcare. It was to make a buck. You have a lot of money, of course we're going to do well. But if you don't make a lot of money, we'll still try to make money off of you by just reducing the kind of care that you get. It's evil, it's immoral, and as you can see, Nixon played a part in it with Kaiser back in the days of the inception of HMO. And if you heard what they said clearly, Nixon said, I'm not into giving that no kind of health care like that and having the government involved. I don't care about that. The guy said, oh, but you know what? Kaiser Permanente has this deal, HMOs, and the idea is we can deny services, and that makes, you know why it works? Makes a lot of profit. And Nixon says, I can deal with that. These are human beings discussing your health care. These are human beings, supposedly, discussing your health care, people. When they talk about this stuff like it's complicated, no, it was designed to harm you, to make a profit on you. Medicare for all is the only solution, not something to be feared, but something that we need to work on, something that the rest of the world does in some form or the other. Let's not continue to let them hoodwink us, man. We can't allow them to continue to hoodwink us. Marnie, welcome aboard. LH, welcome aboard as well. For now, as we are going to getting the phones together, if you are on our Substack chat, you can pose your questions or statements there. Remember, it's at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, gets you eventually to the chat, the Substack chat. Or you can, of course, do it on YouTube, what is it? YouTube, Instagram. What else am I collecting messages from? Twitch, Facebook Live, all of that. All right. Astedian says, when I was a young boy, I would scorn as I get a little older. I know I got a lot to learn. We all have a lot to learn. And that's one of the reasons for this program. We all have a lot to learn. John David JD, welcome aboard and thank you for joining. All right. The subject that I want to cover today is what should progressives, what should Democrats do going forward as far as telling Americans if they are elected. And this again, like I said, whichever side have good ideas, I will talk about it. If I hear a Republican with a good idea, I will report about it. I'll talk about it as well. Unfortunately, right now, I don't. Unfortunately, right now, I don't have any good ideas coming out of the right side. If somebody knows of a good idea, put it into the chat. I'd love to know the good idea. But here's the deal, people. These are the 10 things according to Dr. Robert Reich, an economist, a capitalist economist, but one with a heart who seems to believe in regulated capitalism. I think anytime you say the word regulated capitalism, it's no longer capitalism. It's a social democracy, meaning that democracy reigns, but that we can hold for another time. What are the 10 points that we should look at? First, to bring prices down quickly, we'll eliminate Trump's across the board tariffs. We will eliminate Trump's across the board tariffs. But before I say that, Lee the Bearcat has a great idea. He says, you want to reduce people's burden, cut taxes. Most people, don't pay the taxes that Trump can cut on them, right? So Lee the Bearcat, what more tax cuts will actually help the poor and the middle class? The poor don't pay the only taxes the poor pay are taxes known as regressive taxes, meaning sales tax, taxes on their cars, property taxes. Every tax paid for by the poor is a regressive tax. But the rich, we even protect the rich's wealth here in Texas. We just passed a constitutional and ill-advised constitutional amendment that pretty much told us, we actually told ourselves, even if those guys get dirty rich on polluting our lands, on drilling oil, fracking, destroying the water table, we can recover none of that. They will remain rich. Their money is untouchable. We can't even tax their money. That is where we are at right now. Even Texans ill-advisedly stopped us from being able to tax wealthy people's wealth. So no, Lee the Bearcat, the math does not add up. The math does not. And you said stop overspending, eliminate fraud. Please give me your calculation. You say, I don't want you to mimic what you're hearing on Fox News. I want you to give me the calculation that says if we eliminate fraud and if we stop overspending, and I'd like you to tell me what we're overspending on specifically and how much we would save from what you're calling overspending. Do that math for me. And then we can talk. Please do the math for me, and then we can talk. So, one of the first ways to reduce taxes is eliminate the tariffs on that Trump put in there. Import taxes that are raising the prices of just about everything American consumers buy. We'll eliminate them where their costs to consumer are far higher than any potential benefits in the form of new jobs. Remember when Trump put tariffs on steel? Hey, we got a few hundred more steel workers, but you know what? We laid off 75,000 others as we priced steel in such a manner that it killed all the industries, not killed, but reduced many of the industries that uses steel. Again, We have to do the Minnesota story is look, the fraud is there, but it's peanuts compared to the overall economy. Again, Fox News know how to rile you guys up, but it doesn't allow you to do the math, which is what's important. The math. They want you to concentrate on the get excited about what's going on, but they don't talk about the math. Okay, the second thing, well, we'll bust up monopolies. Another major source of high prices is monopolies, especially in high tech, healthcare, food, and finance. When you take a look at the small amount of egg producers en masse, meat producers en masse, all of these are monopolies. You get rid of these monopolies, you break them up, they'll have to compete among each other. And as they compete, prices will go down. We should vigorously enforce antitrust, anti-monopoly laws so that corporations don't have the power to raise prices. We'll bust up giant corporations. We'll even we'll even we'll bar large firms from merging or acquiring other firms. That is how it's done. Number three, we'll fight for stronger unions. The corporations have unions. They just don't call it unions. They call them trade groups. That they work in the interest of the corporation. We have the steel trade groups. We have small business trade groups. We have trade groups on mineral extraction, coal extraction, oil groups. We have people who work on medical equipment. All these things are nothing more than what again? Nothing more than unions for the corporations. But the largest union should be that of the people so that they can negotiate what is best for them. Leader Bearcat, 12% of SNAP is fraud. Even if 12%, this is why I say you need to do the numbers. Let's go under the pretext that our brother Leader Bearcat is right, that 12% of SNAP is fraud. In the total scheme of the budget, if 12% of SNAP is fraud, I'll tell you something. It's a bargain. Now let's go look at the Defense Department and the fraud there. One company in the Defense Department's fraud exceeds not necessarily just the fraud in SNAP, but orders of magnitude of the fraud in SNAP. You see, you're barking up the wrong tree. As usual, we the people have allowed those the rich to put us against we the poor and the middle class. While it bugs you to see that there are some people getting SNAP, they're not rich, but maybe under the SNAP rules, they don't quite qualify for as much as they're getting, but they get it. They do something and they get it. That so irks so many people that those poor people are getting a little bit more SNAP than they're entitled to. That those poor middle class, lower middle class folks are getting a tad bit more SNAP than they're entitled to. When was the last time you saw a missile that cost one missile over $1 million that cost these guys under $1,000 to develop, or a bomb that cost under $1,000 to develop? Think about it. Why does it irk you about the poor person just getting a little bit ahead? But when you talk about the military industrial complex charging the government $10,000 for a $500 bomb, it doesn't irk you to give that rich person that benefit. That is how a slave mind works. You know why slavery lasted so long? Because slavery is not about putting somebody in chains. It's not about locking your hands up in a chain. Slavery is what's done to the mind. You can, after you have enslaved the mind, you no longer need chains. You no longer need electrified fences. Once the mind is enslaved, which, that's what has happened too often to the right. You enslave a mind. And at that point, it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and see if the line works. Howard, line one, let's see if we can actually come in and get it to work right now to take a few calls. Let's do it and we'll check it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, we'll keep working on it. Just make it red whenever you need to, and we'll go ahead and test it, guys, in the studio. All right, line one is red.
Okay. Well, I can hear myself, but I can't hear you, Egberto. So
Okay.
we're going to terminate this call so you can get back to your show.
All right. Thank you very much, Howard. All right. Yeah, we're still trying to figure things out. It's been a thing. I think LVW says, let's talk about the $620 million loan to Don Jr.'s company from the Defense Department. SNAP is the least of our worries. Exactly. But again, like I said, LVW, when the mind is enslaved, you no longer need the chains. And the thing about it is, that is what has been done. Enslaved minds. Marnie says, my ex-husband was a military pilot when we lived in Laughlin Air Force Base in Del Rio, Texas in the late 80s. They came through, tore up all roads and base that were almost better than any roads outside the base. And I asked why. They said if they didn't use the money, they'll lose it. Thank you for that. That is so true. LVW also says the minds of so many are enslaved by these charlatans. They actually think billionaires deserve to hoard untold wealth, and wealth should thank them for our crumbs. Yeah. A couple of folks got mad when I really nailed it to Dell. And luckily, I got emails after that with thank you for pointing out that Dell was doing the poor no favor. There was another person who did the calculation and said the most that investment will be worth is $3,000 after 18 years. And do you think $3,000 is going to make a dent in education or a home or anything in 18 years? However, if we tax the wealthy what they're due, we would so empower what has been taken from people. But again, as LBW properly points out again, if we enslave a mind, we no longer need the chains. And if we enslave the mind, there are so many to enslave than those we're willing to actually see in chains. Notice what I said. If you see too many people in chains, you get worried. If it's not your class, not your ethnic group or whatever. But the thing about enslaving the mind is we have the ability to enslave all, irrespective of what they look like. And that's what's happening in America today. And that's the purpose of this program, to unenslave minds. Let's try Betty and see if we can work now. Line 3. Betty, how you doing, sister? Let's see if that's going to work.
I'm okay, Alberto. I know you can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
I told him to put the red lead into the red hole, not the blue lead to the blue red hole. Electronics.
I hear you, girl. Talk to me.
Okay. Trump with the hole in his head. Trump is on a mission. He's off the wall line. He is working his way to, oh my Trump, instead of, oh my God. Trump, America's not your house. You want to go out and visit of America because you live in a different world, Trump. Not a live. Trump is spreading the word Biden's inflation to ease Trump's inflation. He uses the backdoor easy for him. Lies. Love y'all. Bye.
Love you too, Betty. Thank you for calling in. Astedian says, I love Betty, or I like Betty. Thank you for that, Astedian. I'll let Elaine Ambrose welcome aboard. Okay. Anyway, folks, look, Like I said, Leader Bearcat, what is being done to your mind is to have you look here and there and not look at where the problems really are. And until you decide to unenslave your mind and open it up to what's really happening, I don't know how things are going to go for you. Uh, Agolf Twitler says if there was 100 billion on fraud, then why are there no indictments at all? Can't indict a ham sandwich? That makes Agolf. What you're saying there is a very smart thing. All this fraud that these people keep talking about, if it really were there, guess what would happen? Yes, people would start getting indicted, just like some are going to be indicted in Minnesota for that fraud. That is the job of the attorney general, and my buddy is the attorney general of Minnesota, and he will get down to it. He has always uh, he has always done a great job. Hey, Keith Ellison, a friend of mine, he is the state's attorney general. And if you take a look at the interviews that I've done with him, he always comes out and says, I am going, wherever there is fraud, wherever there are these things, I'll take care of it. And that's what he does. In fact, it wouldn't have come to light if they weren't taking care of it. All right. The fourth item, we'll raise the national minimum wage to $20 an hour and higher. No one who works full time should be in poverty, and we'll raise it even higher for the employees of big corporations that pay their top executives more than 200%, 200 times the typical worker. We'll make housing more affordable. We'll stop private equity firms from buying up homes on large tracts of land and colluding on prices. That's a problem. We'll get rid of zoning laws that keep housing prices high. And we'll raise taxes on big corporations that drive up housing prices. Absolutely so. Important. Let's go to Brother Johnny, line number 1. Come on in, Johnny.
And all this time I could hear myself, but I could hear you at least, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We're not going backwards.
Yes, we're working, we're trying.
Anita Bearcat is such a cool, what I imagine to be a cool Native American person. So, Anita, here's a tree that you can come to bark up at and help me. I'm barking up the Manhattan, Wall Street tree where all those white bankster criminals are at. Those are the people. Those are the people we need to concentrate on. This idea of giving tax relief to the working class, it's not going to help the working class if they're working service jobs. They don't make enough money, like the rich dudes. The rich dudes always complain, "Oh, taxes are too high." No, they got you sold, lady. They got you sold. By the way, Alberto, I had a dream last night.
Let me hear it.
I was in a grocery store that I think in my dream was supposed to be a regular grocery store that was turning public. And the thing was, I was a regular there in my dream, and I was sometimes in the public aisles, where people shop, and sometimes I was in the back, like in a stock room and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And I noticed this guy that was showing up there a lot who wasn't employed there. And so my takeaway in my dream was that this guy was a possible infiltrator. And I hate sharing this on the public airways because sometimes my ideas give people the wrong idea on the other side of the aisle. So in other words, if and when Mandami is able to get some public grocery stores, please, Mayor Mandami, get some of your volunteers to be security, to look out for these guys that show up and they're not buying nothing, they're just looking around.
Yeah, in other words, don't allow them to sabotage your whatever public stores get created. Don't allow them to sabotage it so that they can make a new story. Like there's this guy that used to make what is his name? He used to make these videos. In fact, they were
James
responsible.
O'Keefe.
Keith, yeah,
James
O'Keefe. He caused that particular organ. Yeah, I know. They caused an organization that really helped people to go under. I can't remember the name of the organization that really helped poor. Acorn. They caused Acorn to go under. And later on, it was found out that all the things that they spoke about Acorn was not true. It is sad
Yeah.
that this is what
You know
happens.
who else
And
hasn't learned their lesson?
right,
You know, besides
exactly.
James O'Keefe, you know who else hasn't learned their lesson?
Who?
Marjorie Trader Taylor. She was on
Yeah.
the 60 Minutes last night. And I hate to tell you, I told you so, Alberto, but she hasn't changed her stripes. She's still employing that tactic, that rhetorical tactic with the reporters, putting the thing back on them. She hasn't learned a damn thing.
I didn't
Here's
see
one
it 60 Minutes last night. I got to go pick that one up then. I didn't see it last night. Go ahead.
And Anita, one more thing. Anita, if you're still listening, I hope you are. Remember this. The numbers, they don't lie. Like Alberto laid out at the start of his show, numbers don't lie. Republicans do. No.
Have a good one, Johnny. But again, the fact that, thank you, Johnny. The fact that I have this one person so defending the wealthy and trying to make the fraud that comes out, let's say in New York on Snap, etc., and never once mention what I spoke about, what the Defense Department is doing, $1 trillion Defense Department, what they're doing to enrich a few. Doesn't mention that, don't talk about it. Lady Bearcat, I feel for you, my brother. Let's go to Bard. Come on in, Bard.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Bard, I always know what you're going to talk about. And you notice I still give you the airwaves, but please go ahead and let's see if we can get it factual this time. Go ahead.
Okay, well, you don't know what I'm going to talk about, but your buddy in Minnesota, Attorney General, is part of the fraud.
Oh, wow.
So your buddy is not going to uncover the fraud.
Also, Keith Ellison, my good friend and former congressman and now attorney general, he is a fraudster. When he's the one who, wow, amazing. Okay,
yes,
when you have some proof, Bard, why don't you just go ahead and email me the proof? And then if Keith is one responsible, I'll bring Keith on here on KPFT live, and we'll talk about it. Okay.
All right. I'd love to hear that, but I know you won't do it.
Oh no, I would. Anybody who knows my program know I would. But thank you, Bard. You have a wonderful day, my brother. Let's go to Bobby.
And
let's go, Bobby. Come on in, Bobby.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
This whole $1,000 give out thing, I keep getting visions of like a king and or his oligarchs going through the town and all the, all the like the little peasants out there, and they're throwing out their biscuits to everybody. Like here, and they're telling the people, look, start a savings account now for you. Like as if we don't understand the concept of saving for the future. But what they don't understand is the people don't have the extra income to save in the first place. This $1,000, you're going to have single mothers out there that are going to know, like you said, that this isn't going to help my child's education. And guess what? They're going to pay their rent. They're going to pay their child care. So like 2 jobs, and they're still going to be broke. And then they're going to be like, man, we have to eat. I'm sorry. And then they're going to end up using that $1,000 to feed their kids and feeling guilty as hell. And meanwhile, the Republicans will be like, oh, well, we tried to teach you how to be a good person and how to, look out for your kids and save for their future. But apparently you just don't care.
Bobby, let me give you the bad news. The bad news is, that $1,000 that they're going to get ultimately, it goes into account that, guess what? The mother that needs milk tomorrow, she can't touch that money. The only persons that can touch that money in there are the investment bankers. Think about this. I mean, this is a gift. This is a giveaway all around. It's a giveaway for Dell because he gets a huge tax break. It's a giveaway for the capitalist markets because, again, only the investment bankers can mess with that money. You have no control of that money for 18 years, my brother. 18 years. You can't touch that money. Okay, and as LBW pointed out last week, when you do the amortization on that money or the time growth of that money, it does not exceed $3,000 something. So, Bobby, you nailed it, sir. You nailed it. Anything else? I got to go to another call.
No, that's it. Have a good day.
Thank you, Bobby. You have a wonderful day. Anyway, folks, it is so important. And again, I wish, one of the things that I gave in my speech on the weekend was I told folks that those of us that consider ourselves progressives, have to go out there and continue the conversation with people like Brother Lee the Bearcat in the chat. At some point in time, we have to show, first of all, I respect you, Mr. Bearcat, and I'm going to keep talking to you, Mr. Bearcat, until sometime you decide I am just going to let the facts speak for themselves, and then I would have gotten you. Let's go to Jimmy. Come on in, Jimmy.
Murdering people on the high seas. They are striking about 20 boats, killing 80 people. This is murder, and they should be held accountable for that. Those people on those boats, we have no idea what they're really doing. And in any case, pushing drugs is not an offense where you get the death penalty. So we need to really speak up against this wholesale murder under President Trump and Secretary of War Hagstaff. He's a total incompetent, and he running around murdering people on the high seas. So we just need to hold them accountable or ask them to stop these wholesale murders.
I agree with you, Jimmy. I agree with you, and thank you for bringing that subject up. We're out of time, however, so we'll talk tomorrow. Thank you very much for that. Folks, there are 5 other items on the things progressives should do. It's at the newsletter. Go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter if you want to see that. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Let's go ahead and throw it to the studio.
Nothing here. Take it home.
All right.
Hey, Egberto, those boats, if you notice, they have like stripes across the top of them. Those are rows for chairs.
I know. I heard that. Thank you very much, Jack. We got to get out of here. Anyway, folks, love you all. The rest of the program is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can email me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. The U.S. Supreme Court handed the state of Texas and the Trump administration a huge win December 4th, overruling a district court panel's compelling racial gerrymandering findings. The gerrymandered maps likely deliver 5 more GOP congressional seats in the 2026 midterms. The majority's opinion leaned heavily on their Alexander versus South Carolina NAACP opinion and the too close to the election Purcell decision. The majority wrote, "The district court failed to honor the presumption of legislative good faith by construing ambiguous, direct, and circumstantial evidence against the legislature," unquote. The majority further argued that the district court improperly inserted itself into an active primary campaign, causing confusion. Justices Kagan, Jackson, and Sotomayor condemned the use of Purcell when the Texas primary could be moved and the general election was 11 months away. Their dissent pointed to the district court's due diligence with 3,000 documents, 9 days of testimony, and a 160-page opinion when the majority's ruling was, quote, based on its perusal over a holiday weekend of a cold paper record, unquote. Justice Kagan wrote, "Today's order disserves the millions of Texans whom the district court found were assigned to their new districts based on their race. Because this court's precedents and our Constitution demand better, I respectfully dissent." We have more at American...
Haley, and you're listening